Hey guys, it's Editing Jackie here. I'm coming to you after the fact. I finished filming this video a couple days ago, but I wanted to talk to you a little bit more because I was in a bit of a hurry that day. I had a lot going on, and so now I have some time to sit down and talk to you a little bit about the high tunnel that we built outside. I was not expecting to grow seeds this year at all to sell. I was just going to do a small operation for myself so that I would have stuff to put in my own garden. I was planning on waiting until next year to try and do any kind of seed starting to sell, because every single time I've tried to grow something from seed before, it's failed miserably, and so I wasn't even sure that I could do it. So this year I started some stuff, as you guys saw if you watched my videos. I started some things inside over the winter, and they did so well that I figured maybe I have figured this thing out. Let's not wait a whole year to sell some of these, and let's just do a small scale operation and start what I can and sell the rest that I'm not going to use. It very quickly went from having 6 grow lights and being able to grow about 6 trays of seeds to suddenly I purchased 10 more grow lights, adding 10 more trays that I could grow. And even then I ran out of room so very quickly that I figured, why not do a little hoop house outside? Because if you saw my previous videos from the fall, you know that I bought some 6 mil greenhouse plastic to go over a raised bed that I had so I could grow lettuce over the winter, and that's been doing great. The soil heat cable has not been on for a long time because the extension cord that it was connected to, John destroyed that in our snowblower. So I thought for sure that I was going to lose all the lettuce and everything that I planted in there, but lo and behold, it is doing well. We actually just harvested a salad out of it not too long ago. But I did not need the entire sheet of plastic that I bought for that because it was a very large piece of plastic. So I had to cut it to fit it over my 4x4 raised bed, which means that I had more than half of the piece left. I figured we could stick some rebar in the ground and just do some 1/2 inch PVC just over, kind of creating a little dome, and I could start some seeds that way. And we actually did do that. I will put a picture up right here of what it looked like, and it was cute, it was great, it was super sturdy, but I very quickly realized that there was no way that I was gonna make this work because I could not easily access it to water it, and I feel like all of my seed trays just would have dried out because it was a hassle to open that thing up and get in there to water it because I couldn't stand up. It was only maybe 3.5, 4 feet tall. So what we did is we modified it a little bit, got longer pieces of rebar and added straight pieces of PVC to make the arch start at a higher point. So it ended up being, I haven't measured, but I want to say between 6.5 and 7 feet tall, which means I also needed to buy another sheet of plastic. So there is, one sheet of plastic, and then the existing sheet of plastic I had comes over and they overlap a little bit, but that was the only way that I was going to be able to get it all the way to the ground. But it's working out great so far. There are definitely some things that I will change next year, and I figure every year when we put this up, we're just gonna hone our skills, and eventually we will live on our forever land and I will have an actual permanent greenhouse. But until then, this is an excellent option because hoop houses are really a game changer. They don't require any electricity. It just uses the sun. Things that you can start in there are basically any cold hardy crop, and you can even put additional fabric over the crops in the hoop house to give it kind of like a double layered insulation type of thing. And there are ways to actually heat a hoop house, but because this is so temporary and we really just wanted a cheap option, and this wasn't even a plan until the day we did it. So it is just super simple, basic, uses the energy from the sun to heat it up, and even when it's feels like 19 outside, it's still like a balmy 65, 72 degrees in there. But it does cool down a lot during the night. It heats up really fast during the day, but it definitely cools down at night. So you want to be mindful of that on really cold nights. If there are any seeds that have sprouted, maybe bring them inside. I considered doing that for the one last night that was going to get below freezing, but I didn't. I took a chance because I knew the only things out there that were started was some pretty cold hardy stuff like onions and some perennials. So I took a chance and everything turned out okay, but you just want to be mindful, check the temperature as often as you can. You could even get one of those thermometers that hooks up to your phone so you can check it anytime you want. I just bought a cheap $5 thermometer from my garden center, and I strung it to a piece of rope or thin rope, and we tied it to the center so it was kind of reading like the center of the greenhouse, and it does its job well enough. I can see that it's staying where it needs to stay, and it's just going to give me that extra space that I didn't have when I was only doing things inside. And every year these are super easy to customize the size and add on, and every year I'm thinking I will probably add on and get a little bit more space. Right now the floor space measures about 7 feet by 5 feet, which allows me to fit 20 trays in, but it's been really nice having, I think right now I have maybe 16 trays, and it's pretty cozy in there. But you could definitely rearrange things, make it a little bit wider, put tables or shelves in there, what have you. But it's been really nice being able to water those 16 trays with a hose instead of a spray bottle like I'm doing all the ones inside. That really gets old real fast. I definitely need to invest in a pump sprayer, but for now, I'm still just using my good old trusty cheap Target water bottle, and it works just fine. So that's kind of the basic rundown of, you know, how we went about building this. I love the fact that it is so easy to store, because once the spring is over and summer seasons really began, it gets way too hot to do anything in a greenhouse of any sort. But when it comes time to dismantle this thing, all I will have are 8 pieces of rebar. And if you don't know what rebar is, it's just a stick of metal. I think they're made of steel. So I'll just have 8 thin pieces of rebar to tuck away somewhere. The PVC can all get tucked away. I'm thinking I'm going to attach them to the ceiling in my garage, and then the plastic can get folded up. And here is the hoop house that I have just been talking about, but now that I've said all that, let's get back to the video. Hey guys, what's up? I hope you're having a great day. So today I have a super busy day ahead of me. Today is the last day for me to get everything in order, because tomorrow John and I put our products in a retail store. So it's one of those stores that's like a boutique for all different artists to have a space of their own to display their products and get their products in front of an audience in an actual retail setting. So today I have to do some odds and ends to get ready for that, because that is super exciting. If you are in the area, it is in Wellington, Ohio, so I'd love it if you would check it out. But before I get to doing that stuff, I wanted to just show you what's been going on around the homestead. So I'm gonna try to not talk a whole lot while I'm outside, because it is really, really windy, and it would just be a whole bunch of blustering wind sounds if I did. So there might be some voiceovers in this video. So if there is, that's why it's too windy to talk outside. So let me go outside and I will show you what we've been working on. But before I do that, take a look at this tomato plant. This is the orange hat tomato that I planted that I sowed the seeds for in January, and it's got tomato here, here. There's one somewhere else on this plant. Oh, there's one forming. I don't know if you can see. Right there. There's a bigger one somewhere else on this tomato. Oh, yep. Right under that leaf. And then this one back here is also just starting to form little tomatoes. You can see one right there. So that is super exciting. I cannot wait to try these. So this is a DIY hoop house that we made. So like I said, the wind is really loud, so I'm not gonna do a whole lot of talking in here. There's gonna be a lot of voiceovers. I definitely took a risk by leaving all of these plants in here last night because it got super cold. But I felt like because this has a double layer, it would at least keep the frost off of them. So I'm really glad to see my onions are all still up, alive, and doing well. I have a bunch of bunny tails grass growing. Have some asters here. Just a load of stuff. Seedling math is probably a lot like chicken math. It can get out of hand real fast. So I'm glad to see a bunch of these. We've got some, what is that, cabbage or kale? That's the cabbage, yeah. There's cabbage there. We've got some quinoa over there. Just a whole bunch of stuff. So it's all looking really good. They need a little bit of a drink of water. Oh, I see some, what is that? There's some lettuce coming up here. And all this is there is a long piece of rebar up here. And then you can see here's the joint. So this is a straight piece of PVC, and then this piece runs all the way up and over to here, and then there's another straight piece of PVC with a piece of rebar that probably comes up to about here or so. And then we just have 6mm plastic over the top, and we put in these reinforcing bars. These are just straight pieces of 1/2-inch PVC, and then we've got T-sections with some reducers. So yeah, it's super simple. And then we put a tarp zipper on the front here. But I just love that this gives me a place that I can start my seeds, and yeah. So if you guys want to know more in depth about how we built this, kind of talking the cost, the pros and cons, things that we would do the same and things that we would do differently, I'm going to create a blog post on our website all about this, going into a lot of detail. So I don't know if that blog post is going to be up by the time this video goes out on Saturday, but if it is, I will post it in the description below. Otherwise, just keep checking back to our website and it'll be up there within the week. So thank you guys so much for hanging out with me, and we will see you in the next video. Bye.